Hey everybody, welcome to the Knot of the Week. Today we are continuing our DIY knot board display. I've got a new way of laying out everything, trying to situate it, and we'll be adding the sheepshank today. Alright, so I'm going to show you two methods to tie the sheepshank today, one of which I think is a little bit faster to tie and one that I prefer. But first off, a sheepshank can be used to either shorten a rope or be used to bypass a damaged section of the rope. And that's kind of how I'll be explaining it, because I feel like there's better ways to shorten a rope, and I like to just use a shorter rope if I need a shorter rope. So either way, I think of this more as like a, I guess, a field expedient way to get around a damaged portion of the rope. So if you find yourself needing a rope and you're out in the field and you don't have a spare rope, being able to just not use a certain section of rope is what the sheepshank is all about. So my favorite method is to form three underhand loops, and I call this an overhand loop and I call this an underhand loop. So that's how I'll be referring to it. So if you create three of those in a row, so you're basically throwing three of those over this way, you can take that damaged section. I'll lay it down here so you can kind of see it a little better before I put it together. So the damaged section of the rope that you're trying to bypass will be at the top of this center loop. So then what you're going to do is you're going to grab the center loop here, and you're going to grab the center loop here. And it's easy to remember which direction you grab from, because if you try to put this center loop through the other way, it's just not going to happen. It's going to fall apart on you. So you want to kind of twist these so that they're going outboard to kind of lock those loops in, and then you're just pulling this one out, so to speak. So this is the way it looks when it's kind of together, and you'll see that this differs from the other method of tying due to the way that the lines are running. So the lines are both on the bottom of the sheepshank, but again, that damaged area is here on the loop, and when you tighten this and you're pulling against it, so force is coming from both directions on the rope, it takes off the pressure of that damaged section right there. So this is not something you want to do on a dynamic rope. You want to do this on a static rope, because if there is flex or you're putting this under a dynamic load, which you would be in a dynamic rope setting, you want to avoid this type of situation where you're trying to get around a damaged rope. So if you have a dynamic rope, I would not suggest doing this with it. And some people have said that's not really good for holding the weight rating on a rope, and I agree with that. I think you should be really careful if you're trying to use this with a damaged section of the rope. Personally, we've tested this with static line, and I've had this happen before, and I've been able to support, a 200-pound person. However, that wasn't a load dropped on it either. So I would caution you against using this in certain situations. So the other way to tie this is to actually form that first loop, and then you're going to take a bite of another section of rope and you're going to put it through that section. So it's a little tricky to do, because you kind of have to hold this loop tight as this, and then you're going to form that other loop here, and you're going to bring this through. So when you pull against these, you get the same effect, but your damaged section of rope really should be here now. So as you put this together, you want your damaged section to be here. So when you're putting this bite together and putting it into that first loop, that damaged section is along this edge right here. And then you're just creating another loop like this, and you're twisting to pull out. Sorry, twisted the wrong way. And you're just putting it back through that loop again. And I think this is a little bit trickier of a method. I don't really like it. It's still doing the same thing. I feel like the actual ratings for this knot are the same whether you're doing it this way or this way. I just think this is much faster to tie. I mean, I can do this on a rope really quickly, and I think it's more intuitive to tie it this way. That's just the way I'm used to tying it, so that's the way I prefer. So let me show you what that looks like on the knot board. All right, so this is kind of a little bit of reorganization I've done on the DIY knot board display. Down here you'll see the sheepshank that I just tied and added to the board. So I'm trying to situate things a little bit differently so I can condense things more in the center and kind of base it around the janky ship's wheel here, and then work outwards, and then I'll figure out the border that I'm going to do. So we may start moving into some decorative knots soon, just because I want to start figuring out what I'm going to do on the border of this thing. I've also kind of been thinking about how I'm going to piece it together, and what I may do is actually get some felt or some kind of velour fabric material, probably like a blue, and put it down first so the white of the knots kind of pops out more. And then I thought about actually taking this to a framing place and having them frame it after I do some kind of decorative knot work to the exterior of this. So a couple of things I've been kicking around. I'm not quite sure exactly what I'm going to do yet, but that is the progress thus far. Thanks for watching the Knot of the Week. Remember to subscribe, tell your mom about us, click the notification thing, whatever have you. Make sure you share it around. Help us increase our subscription count on the channel. We'd be very much appreciative. And remember, next time we'll be going through another knot to add to our DIY knot board display. We'll see you then.